Cheap, cheap, cheap. Cheap, cheap, cheap. Wait, are they trying to suggest he's just unconscious now? Or are those Death Stars? Ah, life in the country. A salt-of-the-earth life of a burglar wrongfully convicted of his father's murder. Now trying to clear his name by committing a bunch of other crimes and eventually killing a whole mass of people. Sometimes with a tank. The country life for me. Dirt roads, trailers, farms, nature. Well, not really nature. Once you get past the rather nice-looking visuals, you'll notice a glaring lack of animal life. No cats and dogs, no birds, not even cows to populate those farms. But still, good visuals. An isometric view, wafting trash, and some 80s era American-style cars. So boxy. Unfortunately, there aren't that many car types. And usually they're not brightly colored. Usually have more of a matte paint job instead of a true proper shine. But still cool looking muscle cars that take shortcuts, swerve to avoid collisions, and use ramps. So clearly it resembles GTA, and that resemblance extends to the story. You meet a lot of criminal figures, pull some jobs for them, make new criminal connections through those jobs, repeat until done. There's some gang crime that resembles the approach in earlier GTA titles, in that it's silly, perhaps even archetypically stereotypical. I mean, you're in the country and your main enemy gang are the McCoys. But in spite of that, it does have quite a dark tone, without the sense of fun and levity that GTA usually has. A moody and serious revenge story. A functional one, but the seriousness elevates it a bit, and sometimes it's more than moody and is downright disturbing. I won't spoil what's in there. It's kind of impressive how engrossing that feeling makes this game, especially when you consider the more questionable choices they made in presenting the story. Really, what is that animation? It's tonally confusing on the music front as well. One moment they're playing this slow, cool, nothing to lose, moody track. But next, a fast, funny, furious banjo track. While it can fit together quite oddly at times, the quality of the music is good, and it gives it a more staged feel than the alternative of choosing a radio station would have. The gameplay's fun. It has RPG mechanics, and completing missions, activities, and finding stashes all give you money as well as skill points, meaning that the story missions alone won't be enough to max out your upgrades, which is a clever design choice. Gives extra incentive to go after the extras, other than the fun. Traditional time trial races, making those jumps, kill frenzy-like activities, fun. And those activities are quite nice changes of pace when you consider that the main story missions usually favor stealth over overt mayhem, because, as is tradition, that will attract police attention. And while 1 or 2 wanted stars are quite easy to get rid of, the fuller end of the spectrum is quite tricky, but they probably lead to the most rewarding moments in the game. Shoot a few police officers, run away, break into a car, drive off. Realize you can't shake them, see some wilderness, stop somewhere in the middle of all of it, find someone's clothesline, steal their clothes, lastly, sneak out of the search area. And since, as mentioned, no animal life, no bloodhounds, you just escaped in style. I mean, if you picked something nice to wear. The game's actually a bit different. You burgle a lot. Sometimes you hold people up, do it rough and cop scum. Do it quiet and you subdue the witness, having all the time in the world to ransack their house. Even when they're scary people who wear trench coats and fedoras while relaxing at home. Sure, this fairly substantial part of the game is represented pictorially as a minigame. It's still unique and adds variety, and it's yet another thing that adds to the tonal confusion of the game. Sure, the activities are fun, but breaking into people's houses this way can be quite dark, especially when you kill the occupants, or tie them up. It all gets less fun the closer it gets to resembling an actual home invasion. These people somehow feel less expendable than in GTA, at least during burglaries and stick-ups. Another layer of variety is added to the game in the form of searching for stashes and paintings. Usually to get them, you will require a code to unlock a safe or bunker. And sometimes figuring out the code requires solving a puzzle, such as finding a deceased person's headstone in a graveyard and using their birthday as the answer. So the gameplay is nice and varied, but I can't help but feel that some potential was wasted, as there aren't many opportunities to use standard weaponry in shootouts. Not even in activities, because usually those kill frenzies use rockets and stuff. Also, the game has this mechanic where you can drag bodies, dead or unconscious, and you can deposit them in the trunk of a car. Sure, these bodies are lighter than those in an early Hitman game, but it's a neat thing. Yet there aren't that many uses for it. Mostly a few story mode missions. It took me about 21 hours to complete the game, complete all the main missions, complete all the activities, earning a gold medal on all of them, complete all the jumps, find all of the artwork, and like 53 out of 100 of all the stashes. So 21 hours to pretty much complete the game. If you want to collect more of those stashes and want to collect them during your play, during your exploration, in a more natural way, then I suggest saving up your money and skill points as soon as possible to purchase this skill. The game is cheap on Steam. 130 Rand full price, 26 Rand on sale. That's 1 Rand 24 per hour of gameplay, which is quite splendid. And to download, its size is okay. It takes up 1.27 gigabytes on the hard drive. That's decent, okay. It does work on the Warhorse, barely. There is a lot of lag, as well as frame skips when you drive fast. The shooting element was surprisingly playable in this state. And young, desperate, can't afford an upgrade me may have actually played it this way. But you're going to need something stronger to play it properly. But that's when you use high-end settings, the kind of settings that auto-detect on my proper setup. On the Warhorse, when you decrease the resolution to 800 by 600 and set the graphical settings to low, it actually plays well. I mean grainy, but well. It does still experience low frame rate during certain situations, such as the presence of many enemies or high-speed driving, but I believe it's a marked improvement, since it used to lag just walking through the woods in the unadulterated test. So if gaming content is king for you, and you just need something playable instead of running on high, I'd argue this game is an option for you. But just in case, I'll show the system requirements here. You make the call, but stereotypically it's not for kids. It's not that violent, but the implied violence as well as the darker themes may be a bit much for some. The game has good visuals, although the cars lack visual variety, and the muscle cars are perhaps not as excitingly colorful and shiny as you would like them. It has good, mostly country music, if perhaps tonally strange at times. And it has good, fun, varied gameplay, with fairly unique mechanics, such as burglaries, although some mechanics such as gunplay and body dragging are underutilized. And what I believe is a fairly rare pro amongst games in the GTA vein, money is more useful in this game, and thus collecting it is far less stale. Spend your money on skill upgrades, cars, lockpicks, etc. Mostly skills. That's what makes it here. For the rest of the stuff you have alternatives, granted by your profession. On the maybe side, it does have a functional story, really. Kind of cliché. And it's tonally strange too. Most of the time the game gives a nice, moody atmosphere, but those are undercut by the lighter, sillier moments. And then sometimes it goes completely dark. The game doesn't have as much levity as GTA. Also, the game doesn't have the most advanced car physics, but they're fun and play well. On the con side, the, as mentioned, wasted potential. Some mechanics don't get as much use as perhaps they should, Also, they make some rather strange choices in story presentation when it comes to those small cartoon portraits during conversations. Specifically, I'm referring to those weird animations. They're kind of goofy, and not in a good way. Also, remember you have to read. There are no voiceovers in this game. And lastly, technically the maps in this game are small, and they feel even smaller because of the low population density of the countryside. Come on, play it! Imagine GTA if they kept that delightful viewpoint, and maybe scaled down. It's kind of a short burst of fun. Finally, a crime game where you can run away from the police by hitching a ride on a train. By glitching onto it, apparently.
Cheep, cheep, cheep. Cheep, cheep, cheep.